287. In the Music of the Soul, where Sidi comments on the part of the Wadifa that says, وَحِيَادُ مَعَالِمِ الْجَبَرُوتِ بِفَيْدِ أَنْوَارِ سِرِّهِ الْبَاهِرِ مُتَدَفِّقًا. And the reservoirs of the world of the Jabarut pour forth in profusion the lights of his dazzling secret. He's talking about there's this theophany that comes from the Muhammadan reality, and the Jabarut, he's already talked about how the mulk and the malakut emerge from these theophanies of the Muhammadan reality. And then he says, the reservoir is the place where water is collected in order that it may be distributed for irrigation. And the reservoirs here represent a state of intense preparedness and readiness in all creatures. The world of the Jabarut, as already mentioned, is the place where the essence manifests, freed from incidents of chance. This may not be clear to you what this means, freed from incidents of chance. The Arabic term here is hawadith. When we look at things in the world, they appear as what is translated as incidents of chance. That's a literal translation. What it really means is things appear in time. Things appear not connected to the unity. So, as he says, the Jabarut, this is the place where the essence manifested, freed from hawadith, freed from appearing like things are disconnected moments in time. That's what incidents of chance is translating. So right now, if you're not experiencing the flood of mercy, when we're just looking at the things of the world, this is what is translated in English as instance of chance, hawadith. So the point is to become aware, or even just mentally, by remembering that what appears to be these disconnected moments in time are in fact united at the level of the Jabarut. They're united even deeper in the essence, in the unity. And so, to get back to that, we can respond when we find ourselves here, experiencing ourselves like an island, a disconnected being, connected only through historical time, sequential time. When we experience ourselves in separation, then we can respond with gratitude to Allah for Allah's sustaining us. And this will take us back from being caught in these incidents of time in separation. It will take us back to increase the likelihood that we'll experience the flood of mercy, because we will be setting in motion a relinquishing of this compulsive choking off the mercy by focusing too much on this moment in time, by simply mentally reminding ourselves that this is not an isolated moment in time. This is a theophany. This is a sign of Allah. This is the Beloved asking us, inviting us to love. This is the Beloved showing us an aspect of the Beloved's face. And then even when we respond with, I don't see you, you're telling me this is your face, it just seems like my life. Then we respond once more, Allah, Alhamdulillah. So we It's very important, in spite of whatever excuse and condition our nafs and shaitan raises, to keep taking refuge in Allah, in gratitude to Allah for sustaining us at this moment. And then inshallah, the more we do that, then the flood will actually come into our conscious mind. So I think we have about 5 minutes left for questions. Yes?
I'm just wondering how, in the face of the anguish in our world and the suffering and people who, it's very hard for me to see the mercy coming to them. How can I thank Allah for sustaining me when I feel like they aren't being? I know that I've got some misunderstandings in here, but I wonder if you could speak to that.
Yeah, it's kind of like when you're in an airplane and they say, if, the pressure drops, first put on the mask yourself. In other words, if you're committing suicide, you're not going to be able to help somebody else. If you're committing suicide by choking off the mercy, by following the guidance of the nafs and shaitan and choking off the unconditional mercy for yourself, you're not going to be any good to anybody else. So you need to, the more you taste the mercy, then this will decrease the constraints on possible avenues for you to help other people that come from the constraints that come from your nafs. You will be going out of the box of the conditioning of the nafs by tasting Allah's unconditional mercy, and then the more that the box of the nafs, the veils of the nafs decrease, this will increase the likelihood, as long as you have the intention to help others, it will increase the likelihood that not only will you see possible ways to help others, but now that instead of committing suicide by strangling off the mercy from yourself, you'll actually have some energy for doing something. So it seems kind of selfish. Oh, what are all these spiritual people doing, trying to access the mercy? But in fact, as long as you have the intention to help other people, while you're also, first and foremost, taking refuge in the mercy, then that increases the likelihood that you will see possible avenues, and also, now filled more with a little bit of mercy, you'll be able to do something. So with that pressure, you need to put on the mask first. Oxygen, get some oxygen in.
Is this on?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
When you're talking about experiencing the flood of mercy, I'm trying to sort of grok that, exactly what you mean. I know when I suddenly see something, like there's confusion and suddenly I see clarity, I feel peace and like the voices are gone. And is that what you're talking about when you say, I'm just wondering what flood of mercy feels like. Or is that another shaitan voice? I think it was, never mind.
There's an Arabic proverb that says, whoever tastes knows. And so we need to take refuge in the mercy. And the interesting thing is, when we're wondering, am I experiencing the mercy or not? It's a valid question. It's a valid question. But the best answer, how can you best answer that?
Well, what I did was, when you talked about the flood of mercy, I began to question my own experience and discounted it. So instead of staying with what I know.
And how does that feel, discounting your own
Oh, it
experience?
feels awful.
Okay, now,
It feels anxiety. I feel anxiety and kind of a fearfulness of not doing it right.
and that anxiety is the first taste of the flood of mercy.
Would you say more?
Taste that, sip a drop of that anxiety with gratitude to Allah for sustaining you. Maybe you don't get it. This is pissing me off. This is just pissing me off. I'm not getting this. What's the key? Where's the mercy in that? This Sufi stuff is garbage. I don't even know why I'm here. Where's the mercy in that? How do you respond if you think that? Alhamdulillah, I'll try that. I'll drink to that. That's Sufi poetic language. Some of that's bitter. That wine is bitter. The wine of anguish, the wine of rage, the wine of anger, the wine of disappointment. It's bitter. At first taste is bitter, but it's the flood of mercy. But commonly, most of the time, some of us might be 95% of the time in rage or in confusion or in anxiety. But most of the time, we're just kind of feeling blah. Most people are just kind of feeling ordinary. But what is that? What's going on when we're just feeling ordinary? That's the flood of mercy too. A taste of mercy. Now that, when you learn how to drink the wine or the mercy of when it's coming to us as ordinary existence, then the doors start really, the dam starts breaking up. Then instead of being at Club Nafs, you're really at kind of Club Mercy. Sitting on the beach of existence, the divine sun is shining and you're just humming right along. And then if you see somebody drowning, then you can jump in. Yes.
I'm just so full of gratitude in this moment because this is really answering a question I have struggled with for years. And that when something in my life happens that I don't really like very much, I pray immediately to Allah and say, Allah, help me to see your face. Help me to see your qualities in this moment so that I can see the love and I can give the love in this moment. And then I'm always very disappointed in myself because it doesn't happen. But what I got was that Allah is asking me in this moment, it says, can you love me when I look like this? And what I was saying, I will only love you when you look like that. And it just throws a switch for me. It just makes it totally different somehow that, yes, I can love you even when you look like that, instead of having to wait till you change and look the way that I want you to look.
Allah says, can you love me even when you don't see the mercy in what I'm doing? Can you love me this way? Sometimes Allah gives us a little cookie or something and says, okay, here's the mercy in it. See it? And then we get addicted to that. And then when we don't see the mercy, we're, uh-oh, what am I going to do now? I don't see the mercy in it. What do you do when you don't see the mercy in it? When you can't put your finger, oh yeah, right. The mercy of my husband or my wife leaving me was that I then found this other great beloved or whatever. You know, but what if you never find another beloved? Where's the mercy in that? That Allah, fortunately, that isn't what the test is all about. It's not to kind of pinpoint with your mind what the mercy is. And the test is to discover, the test is to respond to the veiled face of mercy, to respond to that veiled face of God with a drop of unconditional gratitude to Allah. And then that increases the likelihood that the mercy that was being hidden by yourself, wanting to put conditions on God, God, I can only love you if I see the mercy. That increases the likelihood that those conditions will drop, and then you'll just taste the flood of mercy. And that's called ecstasy, actually, which literally means finding. You find the mercy. You find Allah. In the midst of garbage, sometimes. Scum. And, you know, we're just people. We outwardly, there isn't a lot of mercy in life, outwardly. Sometimes you find it, sometimes you don't. So outwardly, Shaitan, when he says scum, to a degree he's right, but it's only outwardly. But Shaitan goes way beyond that. He just doesn't get it. Doesn't get that underlying the horror, underlying the scum, underlying the ordinariness, there is this flood of mercy that's bringing all of this and us into being and is keeping us alive right now. Yes?
Assalamu alaikum.
Well,
Testimonial. I got to hear your teaching at the land a couple of weeks ago, and I find it very accessible. And I was driving an errand this week, and I heard the scum. And it's so familiar and common and everything. And I was driving, and I was late, and I was, and I just heard Allah is merciful. And it was profound and easy and loving and ecstatic and testimonial. Try it. It's like I was just so amazed that it came so gracefully and beautifully and ordinarily.
yeah, some of the doorways open quickly. And sometimes it takes a lot longer. But Allah gives us a new theophany, shows a new face at each moment. So. Yes, way in the back. And often the most painful one, where the doors seem most closed, that's where the flood can become the most intense.
Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum salam.
Alhamdulillah for you being here. So my question is, when a door is closed, I often struggle with being patient for it to open, or going through every of City's books and finding the healings for this, and the prayers, and that, is a struggle. It's like, do I just sit? Because some, especially if their names are Abdullah, no offense, but they like to sit and wait, and I'm like, oh man, that's just not my way. And so I look for City's book to find, the prayer or the answer. And there's, for me, I would just like some guidance or wisdom on that.
One of the virtues in having City's books or being connected to religion, Islam, is that there are many possible mediating forms that can help nudge us towards the mercy, and even without simply surrendering, can give us a little relief. That's what I mean by a mediating form. Like you can read something in the Quran and it makes you feel good, or you read something in these books, or you take a remedy, it makes you feel good. Okay. When those don't work, or when you can't find a particular name that seems appropriate, one of the virtues of the name Allah is it's defined as the all-inclusive name. So it's like a broad-spectrum antibiotic. Really, you better say that, broad-spectrum anti-shaitanic, anti-nafsanic. That's the name Allah. It's all-inclusive. You don't have to know which quality is manifesting, because it includes everything. And it isn't going to go, what do they call it? The nafs does not develop a resistance to it. So, as long as you apply a drop of the intention to be grateful for Allah's all-inclusiveness, then that you're doing the best you can do to enable that to work. But the important thing is to respond to each moment as things shift. So the moment that you respond, you say, I'm feeling, like, what's the kind of scenario that what's the scenario you mentioned?
Like a job switching and the anxiety, and like, do I start looking for something else, or do I just wait and see if the door opens? Do I start saying certain prayers on Thursday and Sunday nights? Do I
Good.
see the anxiety?
So all of these things about what should I do, these are real issues. This is the lesser jihad. They're real issues, they're important, they need solutions. You keep that in mind, but your primary recourse is, alhamdulillah, to sit with gratitude, my being confused, with gratitude to Allah for sustaining me even while I'm confused about what I'm going to have to do. And then the next moment, something else is going to occur to you. It may be more or less similar to what you were just responding to, but it may be different. The main thing is that to keep responding, not with trying to get rid of the picture that comes into your mind, but to receive the picture, not as an independent entity, to receive yourself, who has this picture of yourself being confused, to receive this not as a disconnected thing, but rather as a sign of Allah. Not a sign that says, oh yeah, that means I should go and now go through the door. No, a sign that this is Allah's face, underlying which is the mercy of Allah, underlying which is Allah asking you, will you love me? You're, in other words, yourself, picture yourself like a child to whom you're the mother of, and your child comes to you and says, I'm confused about what I should do. Should I get my lunch, or should I buy lunch at school? Or should I not go to school? You're the mother. Although you may need to give your child advice, your first recourse is to love your child and to be grateful that you have this child and that Allah is sustaining you in this relationship to yourself. Allah is sustaining you while these questions are emerging. There's no reason why you need to choke off the mercy of Allah while you're trying to deal with this quandary, to choke off the mercy of Allah from yourself. So then it becomes, oh, alhamdulillah, I have this situation I've got to deal with. and I'm not dealing with it very well, alhamdulillah. Then because you're not choking off the mercy, amazing, you will find yourself getting clearer about what your real options are and the real solutions.
Alhamdulillah.
Yes.
Assalamu alaikum. This teaching has been very, very rich. I have one question though, and actually some things are starting to work around it. But what do you do with somebody like a client who does not believe in God and doesn't believe in, alhamdulillah? Where do you go with that? And alhamdulillah that they feel that way, and you give them the mercy, but then what?
Yeah, you can, the first and foremost is to not choke off the mercy from yourself. So you're sitting here, oh no, my God, what am I going to do? This guy doesn't believe in God. This woman doesn't believe in God.
Alhamdulillah.
Yeah, so in order not to burn out yourself,
You fill your own cup up.
yeah, you take refuge in Allah and then sip the mercy in your being sustained by Allah right now, that you don't see a way, you don't see a solution to this situation. And that will increase the likelihood that one will appear like you, that may then be guided to something like emotional intelligence, things like that, which basically says, be aware of your state, stay with the feeling, and then at a certain point, when you've stayed with this is what you're talking to the client, when you've stayed with the feeling, then we'll see where we need to go from there. But you know that what research shows is that after a person has stayed with an uncomfortable feeling, they can, if they respond to it with a positive emotion, like gratitude, doesn't need to be gratitude to God if they don't believe in God, just
Right, it could be
great
gratitude too.
gratitude
Yeah.
that they're
I'm
alive.
talking about somebody who might want to end their life kind of thing.
Yeah, it can
Or
be.
the relative who is supporting the one who is thinking about ending their life. So there are a lot of places to try to find gratitude in other things that may not look like in their world Allah.
It can be
Even
gratitude,
cats.
beauty, for example. You need to try to find some positive emotion that the person has, at least according to what the research shows, that after someone is staying with a difficult emotion, then at a certain point, they may be ready to let go of that. And when they're ready to let go of that, positive emotion can help sometimes simply by staying with a negative emotion and responding to it with simple awareness. The feeling will change. Acceptance can be a kind of positive emotion. Sometimes,
Acceptance of where they are.
yeah, that can work too sometimes. The main thing is to not choke off the mercy from yourself, and then
Right.
see what's
Yeah,
possible.
that's kind of what I heard, and I heard this possibility to help support the parents or loved ones with that, to learn how to drink for themselves.
Like
first.
maybe you might suddenly get an idea that the best thing is for this person to have a pet.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was, they have a pet, and that's kind of what I was thinking.
I mean, I first learned gratitude from my dog.
Yeah. CD talks about that all the time.
I learned something else from a turtle. No. Yes.
So we're now going into our lunch break. So we really need to wrap this up because he's going to be with us at 12:30. And yesterday he was raring to go and he wanted to start early.
Good.
So,
So it's
maybe-
time to drink the beverage of mercy and eat the gluten-free protein of love, as well as whatever is out there.
Thank you.